Okay, so the next thing I'm going to talk about is the terminals, and I'm going to try to get through this really fast. Basically, a terminal can be destroyed. It has a virtual callback on terminate. It has deregister for automated, register for automated, which is virtual. In the game object, that actually does automatic registering and deregistering. It has a bool if marked for termination to see if it's already marked. It has an external management function that just says, when I get destroyed, where do I send this to? Which function do I send this to? And that's in the factory. Send to external management just uses that function to send it. Has external managers just outside used for checking to see if it has management. Set external management. So set external management basically says it has external management and sends it to the, it has external management, gets that function, stores it, and then deregisters with termination dumpster because it's no longer internally managed. Send to external manager just marks this with termination equals to false, and then sends it to that function. And mark with destroy is just registering for termination. And the termination manager, the way it works is basically you have deregister and register. Register is the only one that can be called because once you're in the function, you can no longer deregister yourself from the terminal manager. So and we have processes terminations, and that's pretty much the meat. And the meat is just basically when this is at every frame, when the termination list isn't empty, call the callback called. So an example of the recycling factory I have is the recycling bomb factory, and basically whenever you create a new bomb, you set that external manager to recycle bomb, in this case as a function, and it tells it to push it to the recycling lists. So that's pretty much how you set the external manager, and then you have to call initialize, which is just initializing all the things again. One thing to note that if you do decide to do a So I just very quickly wanted to go over what a termination dumpster does, and that's basically holds all of the terminables so that it can clean them up at the end of a scene change or just getting rid of the game. And that's because the user, it's not very responsible sometimes, so we have to be nice to the system. So you can register to the dumpster, which every terminal is automatically, and deregister from dumpster, which is private. So I just wanted to very quickly show that the recycling, sending the external does work, and termination dumpster does work. So basically I do that by showing the deletions of the recycling factory and the termination dumpster. There should be a bomb which is managed by the recycling factory, and then these two, which is the bucket and the floor, should not be. So I'm going to end the game now, and that's going to cause that cycling. So we have one bomb. The next thing I want to talk about is the scene manager, because the scene manager is actually what has direct contact with the scene. The update for the scene is called via the scene manager. So we have a set start scene, changing the scenes, registering, deregistering for all the various stuff, which is like input holes and etc. Registering collision. Then we have like cleaning up the current scene, which is called when you exit the game. And I just wanted very quickly to show how the scene gets updated. So in the update, it goes to the scene update current scene, and in the draw, it goes to the scene draw current scene, and that's how it calls that current scene, and then it trickles down, and then it calls the managers and everything. One thing I forgot to mention is the game object, which is just very easy. All the game object is it's derived from collidable, inputable, updatable, drawable, alarmable, and terminable, and it has a few little extra kind of functions that I included myself. Those are just kind of like the shortcuts. So set game object world sets both the graphics object and the collision mesh to the same world. That way the player doesn't have to set both worlds at. So another thing I wanted to mention, which I should have mentioned earlier in the asset manager, is something I created called graphics object maker, and that basically is just a factory for graphics objects, all types of graphics objects, and it also holds onto a reference to them, so that the user doesn't have to worry about deleting graphics object and everything. If it uses this graphics object maker system, which the user should, then they no longer have. So I just wanted to go over a little bit of the documentation, just the structure of it. So for game object, we have the default events, which is just kind of like the updates and stuff. And then we have certain sections like drawing, collision, and that just is an indication of important stuff for it. So like if we go to register collision, it tells you what that thing does, and usually everything has an example, of a clear indication example of what it does and